Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Screeny. Penn and Teller have seen some impressive tricks over the course of their career. Hell, they came up with half of them. But despite decades of performing and honing their own skills, they can't always work out how other magicians do their acts. Those that come on to fool us hope that they can walk away having got one over on Magic's biggest duo. But it's more than that. Some of these tricks are so awe-inspiring they can scarcely be believed. Join us as we take a look at the most incredible tricks on Penn and Teller. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos about your favorite movies and TV shows. $100 bill envelope. When it comes to magic tricks, there's not a lot that Penn and Teller haven't seen before, so it's all in the delivery. John had his act down to a T when he appeared on season 1 of the show. The comedy magician had the audience in the palm of his hand as he cracked a few jokes before moving on to the magic part of his act. John showed the viewers 4 envelopes, 4 with nothing in and 1 that contained $100. Picking an audience member out to help him, the lovable guy displayed the different envelopes which each had a word written in big bold letters on the back. John launched into a fast-paced explanation of the varying words written on the envelope before asking the audience member to pick one, which didn't contain the $100 note. Despite knowing personally which envelope the money was in, the audience member picked their choices of their own free will. And lo and behold, after all the envelopes were picked, the magician was left with the one containing the money. Penn and Teller had a theory about how he did it, but they were dead wrong. Although the trick was simple, John was so likable that it was by far one of the best orchestrated acts they've ever seen.
He fooled us!
Yeah! John, you're going to Vegas! Well done, man!
Wine and dine. Nick Einhorn was practiced at the magical arts, having written numerous books on the subject which have sold upward of 500,000 copies. He showcased his trick to Penn and Teller in 2016 in a bid to prove that women were the superior sex. Einhorn started with a restaurant setup with tables in the background before randomly selecting a woman from the audience. John asked Catherine to choose from 3 dishes behind him, telling her to set each one down on a table of her selection. When all 3 dishes were placed, Catherine chose 3 men from the audience to go up onto the stage and take a seat at one of the tables. It was back to Catherine then to select a colored envelope to give each of the unsuspecting men. Like any good magician, John then confirmed with his helpful assistant that everything from her selection to her choices were entirely at random, which of course she did. Each man was then asked to open up their envelopes and read aloud what the note inside said. And one by one, they revealed they were somehow sat at the predicted tables despite Catherine making off-the-cuff decisions. Pretty impressive as far as tricks go, and Penn and Teller were just as in awe as the audience. After a lengthy commendation from Penn, the 2 magicians got up from their seat and admitted that they were 100% fooled.
I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, take a guess, how did he do it? I would say, tell my family I love them.
Spread wave. Frenchman Matthew Bick wanted more than anything to wow Penn and Teller with his trick, spread wave. And he did just that. He threw a large balloon-type ball to Penn, asking him then to throw it into the audience. When it was caught, he asked the audience member what color or what type of cards they wanted, completely at random. Bick returned to the table on the stage where he had a box of cards situated. Only 3 printed cards were in the deck, and they were supposed to match with the cards chosen by the audience members. The suspense was palpable as Bick dealt the deck out and assembled them in an order he hopes was right, face down. However, it wasn't the selected cards that gave the answer. When Bick snapped his fingers and spread the entire deck, they all read the 9 of diamonds in big, bold letters. Was it the fanciest trick? Absolutely not, but it was really impressive. Although this magician could take a leaf out of dear old John's book when it comes to likability. Penn called the trick astonishing and said he and Teller believed the showman was using a second deck of cards somewhere along the line, but unfortunately for the famous pair, they were wrong, and Bick walked away knowing that he pulled the wool over the eyes of the most famous magicians of all time. Shawn Farquhar. This magician was no novice, having won the World Olympics of Magic in front of 32,000 magicians from all over the world. His particular brand of sorcery? Cards. Shawn came from a long line of magicians, claiming he was the fourth generation to not have a real job. Shawn started by producing a brand new deck of cards from his pocket, and asked Penn to join him on the stage. He unsealed the deck after Penn confirmed that they looked completely untampered with and poured them onto the magician's hands. Then there came the shuffling of the deck to make sure that they were completely random, a pretty standard part of any trick. The big man then chose a card at random before Shawn asked him to write his name on the face of the card in black marker. After placing the deck of cards between Penn's hands, Shawn wanted to really blow him out of the water with something that was more than impressive. Everyone thought that he was going to somehow pull out Penn's card from between his hands, but no. Shawn went one step further. When Penn released his hands, there was a brand new deck of cards in its place, wrapped and unsealed. When the pair of cards got out of the box, they were all in a new deck order, besides one. Penn's selected card that was upside down. Wow. Although the guys know how he did some parts of the trick, they didn't know how he did all of it, and Shawn couldn't stop smiling with glee. Scary Sinclair. We love a magician with a good backstory, so when Aiden Sinclair made his way out from the shadows and onto the stage, we were all ears. The self-confessed former con man told tales of being in trouble with the law before running away to Vegas, where he happened to meet Penn by chance. Inspired by Penn's kindness, Aiden turned himself in for his crimes and spent 5 years behind bars learning magic. After his release, the rehabilitated crook decided to make a living from performing his tricks. Sinclair took to the stage alongside 3 randomly selected members of the audience ready to rock. The creepy trick involved the host Allison, who was invited to join the magician and his audience members at the table on stage, where a porcelain doll and a spirit board lay. According to the showman, the doll was haunted by its former owner, who he hoped would come out and play. Producing a small bag out of his pocket, Aiden showed his guests some simple objects, 3 black beads and a pearl. The idea was to place everything back in the bag and get everyone to choose something from it blindly. As if things weren't already spine-chilling, Sinclair asked everyone to put their fists containing their chosen bead on the table, and then spoke directly to the porcelain doll, asking her to direct him to the person who had the pearl. The doll's head turned towards Allison, who had the pearl. It was a pretty awesome trick, perfect for the Halloween season. Ryan Hayashi's Coin Matrix. Ryan Hayashi had grown up loving 2 things: martial arts and magic. When it comes to his tricks, he usually likes to combine the 2, having sliced vegetables held by an assistant blindfolded. You would have to be brave to volunteer for that, wouldn't you? Hayashi opted for a different style of magic to dazzle Penn and Teller, though, stripping down his act to just a few coins. It might sound silly, but it was incredible. The audience warmed to the act pretty quickly. Using just 4 cards and 4 coins, Ryan told the duo that he wanted to impress them as much as they had impressed him as a youngster, and started to rearrange the cards, positioning them in a certain way. His aim, he said, was to create the illusion that the coins were moving of their own accord, and without him interfering in any way. Each element of the trick happens quite quickly, and the coins did look like they were moving on their own. Every time Hayashi moved his arms, the coins moved to a different position on the board. If that wasn't enough, the talented pro got rid of the cards altogether to keep the coins in full view, so the audience could see everything. The audience thought that he was done, but Hayashi kept upping his act to the 9th degree, going from using 2 hands to just 1. The self-proclaimed Jackie Chan of magic had Penn and Teller in the palm of his hand, and he wrapped up his act, but did they know how he did it? That's a big fat nope. Time travel. Time traveling is usually reserved for the movies, but Damian James showed us all that the illusion can be just as great as the real thing. The hat-wearing magician took to the stage to travel to the future, using some impressive stage props to pad out his act. Allison joins Damian on stage to assist him, picking out an emoji card blindly. The audience and Allie were shown which card she picked, but James kept it a secret to himself. And then the best part happened. James busted out 2 Penn and Teller puppets with Zimmer frames to help him on stage, claiming he traveled 6 months into the future. The real Teller looked vaguely amused, while Penn virtually rolled his eyes. But the best was yet to come. Puppet's Penn said that he would be the one to reveal the card that Allison had picked, and all that James had to do was to look at the back of his head. Allison's card wasn't revealed then, but it was revealed on the blood-splattered cloth covering Puppet Teller when he exploded.
He got it! That's it!
When it comes to showmanship, Damian James is the best. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.